so much international experience from a major region, can really challenge to be that best AD carry. And we are going to now head into the champion select. We see LeBlanc is going to be banned out this game. I like the ban. And then Tristana Vi for Dewish team.
Yeah, Tristana Vi, LeBlanc, should expect those to be kind of staples for this meta. I want to see, will the Nico, all right, it is banned away. The Nico, I'm glad to see it banned. I mean, I think the champ is extremely strong on patch 13.12. I was surprised it wasn't prioritized earlier, but either way, we'll see now. Annie is the last ban, so Annie's the champ we've seen kind of fall in priority a lot. It still gets picked here and there, still very good at engage. It's a decent blind pick, but has kind of fallen to the wayside a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is a champ that 1116 did play quite a lot of in the former split, so maybe just taking that away from him, as we are going to see Maokai banned for the third time tonight. Now we're going to the first pick here for Dewish team, and do they look for that Sejuani? So far it looks like they will, and it is. So I believe that is the second time tonight it's the first pick. The only other champ to be first picked is that LeBlanc, which otherwise has been banned.
Yeah, and you have to think this is matched by Kongyue's Wukong. I mean, it's extremely good on the Wukong, and sort of seems like the obvious pick here. Would be surprised to see him go towards something else. Looks like it will be Hoven. And question is, what do you take with this? A lot of the priority mid laners are off the board, so maybe you want to look towards taking something like an ADC instead. Wouldn't be surprised to see an Aphelios maybe, or even a takeaway pick from Sejuani could be good, but I think I'd like something like the Aphelios.
I think you can also look to pick things like the Cassante. I think there's not really a counter to it. You can pretty much pick it into anything, and at worst it's even. But Kai'Sa being the hover here, I think Kai'Sa has a really high skill ceiling. Obviously would be excited to see Betty play such a champion, but Jax now looking like it will be the lock-in, and it is. So Lakai going back onto that Jax. It is, I believe, his most played champion in spring. Going back to comfort as Zhao2 hovering Yasuo.
So Yasuo would be an interesting pick. Would be kind of honestly excited to see. I'm not sure how well it'll do versus Jax and Wukong, but it does pair well with the Sedge. Looks like Renekton could be the answering pick here, but I don't know. Renekton is very good with Sedge here, but another champ that sort of struggles pretty heavily up against the Wukong and the Jax. So I'm not sure it's the best Renekton we've seen all night, but let's see what else they go for here. Will they pick up another melee, maybe stick it in mid lane, or is it time to prioritize one of those bot laners? Could be the Rakan third pick, which we saw in the previous game.
Yeah, so far, if they do lock in this Rakan, it's the exact same pick as DCG had in the former game. So going, I mean, exactly the same. I guess it is just a strong all-round pick. I mean, Rakan, as you've sort of touched on with the Sejuani as well, is you can just place it into any team comp. It fills its role and more. Has so much engage, has peel, just offers so much. It can roam. But ultimately, it is now also going to be Betty picking that Kai'Sa. I think that's the most exciting pick we've seen so far.
Yeah, I was about to say, what a treat. I mean, I think Kai'Sa in general, probably one of those champs that ADCs just really get to show off on. And I think Betty's Kai'Sa, very good pick. And certainly looking forward to this game now, as we'll head towards our second phase ban. They take away the Xayah, so break apart that Xayah-Rakan combo. And I think also just taking away Xayah makes it so much easier for a comp with a lot of engage to play. It's a very smart takeaway there. The side of Dewish team, you know, do you just target those melee supports? No, they ban away the Ahri, which is kind of surprising to me because I feel like there's a lot of champs that could kind of fill the diving role at this point. But, I mean, we'll see what the second ban is.
Yeah, Zia is still open, which is one of the premier mid laners in the patch. So we'll have to see if either team look to ban that away. But it might be just BYG. They're actually taking away the Yone. So it does pair well, admittedly, with that Sejuani. It offers mixed damage as well, so it can do better into the Wukong than the Yasuo. But definitely an interesting takeaway here. I'm not entirely sure of the philosophy behind it.
Yeah, so I think BIG probably will just take their support here, leave mid lane to counter. Rel or Leona feels like it should be the pick. You definitely need something that can follow up the Wukong. I'd like to see the Rel. I think Leona might even be better, but I think Rel's a pretty exciting champ. It is locked in, something different for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Rel and Kai'Sa also offer a lot, similar to the Nautilus, where you have so much CC that you can stack up those passive stacks for the Kai'Sa to offer more damage. Will we see an exact copy of DCG's team comp?
Could it be the Orianna Ezreal coming through? I'd be a little surprised to see an Orianna picked up, but hey, never say never at this point. And Ezreal, looks like it's going to be locked in. So almost running back the exact same draft. I think it's definitely the champs you're up against, though, is not as easy. And Jace, I would be a little surprised to see Jace. It does do very well with Sedge. It pokes as well with Ezreal, but playing Jace up against the likes of Wukong, you know, Kai'Sa, Rel, you're going to have to position so well. Now looking at this last pick here, for 1116, I think the Azir would be good. You know, some sort of big AP carry could be nice.
I think the Cassante is really good here, simply because you have an entirely AD damage team composition here from Dewish team, and on the side of BYG, you can have the Kai'Sa go AP. And so you have mixed damage here for BYG, whereas Dewish team just have only AD damage. You've now got a Jax, a Wukong, and a Cassante to try and burn through. And even on, like, you have a lot of poke, but what's the poke going to be able to do when you have like 300 armor on 3 of your champs?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a game that if Dewish team fall behind, if they can't get those pin items early, are going to really struggle on the side of BYG. And again, you know, questions kind of come back to, is the Renekton and the Jace the right solo lane choices? You know, I think the Gragas could have just been picked up into that Jax blind pick, would give them the AP they needed, a bit more flexibility around the rest of the map.
Yeah, I definitely favor Beyond Gaming here. I think the team composition from Dewish team is quite terrible, honestly. I think if you do fall behind, you don't really have a way to deal damage. I think, how are you going to get to the Kai'Sa first of all? Obviously, maybe the Rakan can make it to her, but even then, what follow-up do you have? If Renekton can get to her, then I think it's just Betty mispositioning. But getting through Cassante, Wukong, Jax, and Rel seems like an impossibility.
Yeah, it kind of just seems like Dewish team need to make sure the poke from the Ezreal and the Jace lands on the right members, but a lot easier said than done, and if they do overstep, can find themselves engaged on pretty much at a moment's notice. So I think, you know, it's tough, right? Dewish team, probably the weaker team, have a very difficult to execute composition, but no, it's a new split. Maybe they'll be able to show us something nice.
Yeah, well, maybe. I think one thing they do have in their favor, perhaps, is they will have a nice skirmish when it comes to those Dragons and Rift Heralds early, before any of the armor items can really come online. So I think if they do have a shot in this game, they really have to acquire those early game objectives. But how easy is that really going to be when you're up against the likes of this BYG roster? We know Kongyue is fantastic at controlling the map, sort of controlling vision around those objectives and setting up for them, you know, 30 seconds to a minute in advance. I don't know how well Dewish team are going to be able to do it. I mean, if WSL can pilot the Sejuani similar to Hana did in the game previous, they might just find themselves so far ahead it doesn't matter. But again, I think that is a very tall task.
It is, yeah, and I think Kongyue, not just a strong jungler, but probably his best champion is Wukong, right? He's shown so many good performances on this champ, and it just feels like he's so well set up to have an amazing game here. BYG, maybe they're even looking for some sort of level 1 here.
In-how will be found, but it should be okay to just run away. There isn't really any CC that can come here. Just a little bit of poke damage, but nothing too significant.
They do get a nice ward here, so we'll spot out WSL. Probably going for the solo start, or actually, looks like maybe he will make the Ezreal leash? Not too sure.
Is going to solo start, but does importantly dodge that ward, so I think inevitably he will go to that Raptor camp, which will spot him out anyway, but for now, his position should be somewhat unknown, especially since we do see JP up in top lane, sort of faking the leash on the blue.
Yeah, interesting. See what happens from that. In the bot side, though, it is first strike, picked up here by Pepro. He's even got the TP as well, so really kind of just saying he can survive this lane, survive getting all in, and it's not an issue. I think it's bold, right? Like playing against Kai'Sa Rel without a combat sum is a little risky, but it is Ezreal after all, can Q farm from a bit further back, but a lot of the time, you kind of really need to be ahead as Ezreal to do stuff into these sorts of comps.
Yeah, Ezreal definitely a champion that wants to be at your tower versus at his own, but I guess early game that might be a little different, and it could be similar to last game where In-how is going to be looking to roam, so having that teleport means if you do get low and aren't able to stay at your tower, you can just recall, teleport back and catch most of the minions. As we take a look at all three lanes, it looks like things going fairly as expected. I'm kind of surprised Jax has the push in top, but I guess that is just because JP decided to fake the leash on the blue buff.
Yeah. Does feel like that. Can maybe set up a gank though. Jax just used E on top and Sejuani is around. Looks like he will be spotted out on that ward. But nothing's going to come of it. And phase rush picked up here by Zhao. Feel like maybe you need it for the matchup, but not having first strike does kind of weaken that scaling.
Jungle Skirmish comes out. It is going to be the red buff found by Kongyue. Stunned up though, and WSL finding a lot of damage here. Kongyue not healthy enough to really return, but he tries, and Flail will not land, but a lot of trading going on as Yaltu and 1116 get really low here in the middle lane. It is 1116 getting the better of the trade. As now Lakai looking for WSL.
Ooh.
Flash followed. It is going to be found. Now it is WSL. Can he get away? No. First blood bound from Lakai. That's red buff now for this Jax in the top lane.
Yeah, red buff Jax. Man, JP's not going to be happy about that one, but imagine how you feel as Kongyue there. You get pushed out of your jungle by WSL, but your laners just collapse and kill him for you. That's got to be the best feeling as a jungler. Just winning those 1v1s in that top and mid kind of allowed them to collapse. Now Lakai, he's going to be the beneficiary of this with that red buff. Might have some difficulty crashing this wave, but once he gets us in, should be in a very good spot.
Yeah, definitely. Again, troubling signs early on in this game, which we've seen throughout the night, really, is just one team takes an advantage early and they snowball the game. So we'll have to see if Dewish team can do something to stop that. But as we touched on prior to the game with their team composition, it almost feels like you can't afford to give up first blood.
Yeah, and WSL maybe wants to try to defend this blue. I don't think it's super easy, though. I mean, Zhao is basically dead already.
Well, he does find it, but now what does it cost him? Does it cost him anything? Kongyue, nice clone there. It is going to be his life. So already found. It is Lakai getting low. Backing out now. Can they find JP? Doesn't look like they'll be able to. So just one kill. It is WSL going down for the second time already as Zhao is running for his life. Kira's coming in, gets the speed up, but acceleration gate might be what he needs to get away.
Yeah, I think he will be able to walk this one out, but I honestly think very questionable by WSL to try and contest that. His laners are just a lot weaker, right? Like, Zhao was so low on HP before this started, and there's no way to guarantee the damage on the Kongyue. You know, down a level here is WSL, down HP. Take a look at Zhao's health as well. How do you think you're going to win this team fight? It just doesn't seem possible whatsoever. And Dewish team, you know, they really get hard punished for that. I think WSL, he could have kind of just gone on the other side of the map, you know, farmed up a bit. It wouldn't have been too bad, but now, significant lead here for BYG.
Has to be careful here. Does have flash available, so we'll just take that flail and walk away.
Will for now. Kongyue, though, his items are looking very good. Is very, very strong. Wouldn't be surprised to see him look towards that dragon before swapping back to the top side. And bot lane's been relatively quiet. You know, I haven't seen a whole lot yet. Looks like Kai'Sa is going for a Noon Quiver.
Probably Static Shiv.
Yeah, could be. I hope it is AP, right? Like, you would expect the Shiv into Shiv Nash's Rage Blade or something along those lines.
I think you can even go Ludens in this game.
Ooh, you think so?
Yeah, I think if you're going AP, because you have no other AP on your team, you're kind of forced to just go full into it. And I mean, the Kai'Sa W spam AP is still extremely strong. And even, I mean, if you landed onto anyone that isn't Sejuani, it should be meaningful. But we do see All Out committed from 1116. Isn't able to find anything for now, but Kongyue following up. Man, 1116 just continuing to go forward. Won't find anything for now. In fact, Zhao really getting the better of the trade.
Yeah, I think that's pretty problematic for Zhao, though. Losing your flash before Wukong hits 6 is very bad. There's a very high chance you just get flash ulted, and there isn't much you can do about that as a Jace. You're kind of just dead to rights at that point.
Well, Pipero has the flash here. We do see the fight come out. Kira's getting low. He is unmounted now, but Betty exhausted, trying to find the damage. It is a nice true shot barrage, but with the team members all here from beyond, they're able to find one. It's Pipero going down. Next will be WSL. That's his third death of the game as Betty runs forward. Zhao with no flash. He just committed it. Is going to look for the turnaround, but does not quite have the damage. Importantly, gets phase rush and is able to run away.
Can they defend this red buff? I kind of feel like they can't unless Zhao can find a way to hit some poke. It's kind of playing with fire, though. Doesn't have a flash. Looks like members of BYG will just walk out after snagging themselves that red buff.
2 kills and the red buff even, and we already see it. First item on the Cassante is just going to be those plated steel caps already, so already minimizing the damage that can be done to him as we look at the replay now.
Wasn't nice flash from Pepero, but really just feel like he doesn't have the damage at this point. I mean, he hit basically everything he possibly could here, but no one's getting low enough. And unfortunately, WSL is so weak at this fight. Kind of just shows up and gets taken out. Really, it's just 300 gold at this point. And just not really strong enough. And I think if you're on the side of Dewish team, it's tough because I think as this comp, you do want to be ahead, but already falling behind, you've got to kind of cut your losses and play for some smarter fights.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do as Dewish team here. You might have to just sit up for a pick. Obviously, Sejuani pretty good at that, and how nimble Israel is can also help alongside that. But they are importantly picking themselves up a dragon, so if it does come down to that dragon win con, they are ahead already in that regard. So good foresight finding that. But it is going to be answered by the Rift Herald up top here from Kongyue.
Yeah, and the Rift Herald is what they can use to really snowball this game. I want to see them look to punish this no-flash Jace. Feels like if you take this Herald mid, you can kill the Jace and maybe accelerate the Cassante to being even more unkillable than he already is. And is this Ezreal going towards Shiv as well? I think it could be. We have seen Shiv Ezreal mid. Haven't seen a bot though, I don't think.
Yeah, it could definitely be, as we see All Out committed here, but is just going to flash out. So was probably intending it to go through the wall, and as soon as it didn't, decides to play safe, flash away, and not give over any unneeded gold.
Yeah, unfortunate misplay there. I think if he had taken him through the wall, was pretty much a guaranteed kill. Does manage to get out though, and is fine. Now with the mid lane Ezreal build, a lot of people have been going for, you know, the Shiv Manamune into the likes of, you know, Lich Bane, even looking towards the Ludens and Rabadons and stuff like that. Probably Ludens before the Lich Bane, and it does scale extremely well. I've played it mid lane once, and it does a lot of damage late game.
That's good. So they do have AP in that regard. So a little bit better than I previously thought, as we see more scuffles between the mid laners here as WSL pokes his head in.
Yeah, we'll just clear this all out. The thing with this Ezreal build, though, is it does take a pretty long time to come online, and I don't know if Dewish team have that time. We'll see if they can manage to do it. I do think if Pepero can get to that late game, you know, be kind of at that 3-item point with his, you know, Manamune, Shiv, and Ludens, we'll be in a very, very good spot. It's just whether or not he could get that.
Betty's already got his Shiv, so already an accelerated Kai'Sa. We see a fight break out here. It's a nice counter-strike to land the stun, but JP going to commit both the ult and the flash, but it is going to be Cyclone knocking him up. Teleport coming in here for Xiaotu could be a bit more dangerous than he perhaps would want, but nice amount of damage there onto Kongyue. Goes to Hammer Form, finds the kill. Can he find Lakai as well? Lakai's so low here as WSL is going to arrive, finds the slow. Double kill now for Xiaotu.
Yeah, very, very nice TP there from Xiaotu. Was actually TP up on the Cassante. I'm surprised it wasn't matched here from 1116. Feels like he could have avoided those 2 kills going over, but maybe just thought they were out. And that's the kind of gold that Dewish team are going to need. And I think getting onto the Jace is very important. He's going to be, you know, a big part of if Dewish team can find their way into this game. Let's get a replay of it. So it looks like JP, he was pretty heavy trading very early. You know, Sejuani is nowhere near. Didn't have the wards ready to back it up. Double dashes and a flash isn't enough to save him. Kind of says how far up in the lane he was. But it is the TP that's answered here. And Cassante, he had it the whole time. I guess there's just nowhere really to TP to. You could TP to the tower, but, you know, it's a long way to run.
Yeah, I wonder if Cyclone landing onto Xiaotu saves them there.
Yeah, maybe. Or it could have even just, you know, traded one instead of having them both die. But
yeah.
Either way, now the Ghost Blade picked up here for this Jace. Very, very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. See if he is going to be able to spread that lead through the other areas of the map. I think bot lane in particular would be a good place to try and look, as you really require this Ezreal to start doing some AP damage to stand much of a chance. But 3-man strong as well as Rift Herald here for Beyond in the mid lane is going to find themselves 1 plate, almost 2.
Yeah, nice little bit of gold there. They're on the other side of the Beyond, and I think right now, it's only a 2k gold lead for Beyond, which I think is the closest game we've seen so far, at least at this point. I feel like PYG, though, they are definitely in the better position.
Kongyue relentless on these invades, is looking for the red. It will be WSL managing to find that, but every time this red buff is up, you can expect Kongyue there with his team to try and take it away.
Yeah, not letting him have anything. Taking away the wards, taking away the raptors. He's finally going to go back to his own side. I wonder if he'll look to start up this dragon. Probably content just to leave it, at least for now.
Like it for now. 30 seconds until this dragon. There is a pink ward on there for Beyond, as well as a couple of wards down pretty deep inside the bot side jungle there of Dewish team.
You know, something that's kind of strange is that we're in a game where the only two APs are the 280 carries.
Actually, yeah. I guess you could include Sejuani at a stretch.
Yeah, I could see that. Sedge does some damage. I think mainly with Sedge, it's like people normally build Merc Treads against it though.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice, right? Just a little bit of that MR and the tenacity.
I think that's the best sort of saving grace here, is that the Sejuani almost forces you to get some Merc Treads somewhere in the lineup just because of the amount of CC she provides, but I don't know if we'll see that just based on damage sources. But anyway, Dragon is spawned now. We'll have to see if there is a contest. It looks like Beyond do want to look to contest this for themselves.
Yeah, I think Dewish team should probably look to give this one up. Maybe you can look to poke around it, but I think buying more time for your Ezreal to scale could be good. If you do want to fight it, I think you have to land poke before it starts. A little bit landed by Zhao, but not onto Betty, which really has to be the target. It's going to be dealing a lot of damage in this fight. It looks like resets will just come out. I think both sides kind of content to leave this. You know, Dewish team, they have that first dragon to allow themselves a bit of safety for scaling.
Kid is getting a bit too confident on his recall here. It will be charged at by WSL, who doesn't quite land the stun, but nice bit of chunk there onto this Rel.
Oh, Dewish team, I don't think they should start this one. Maybe having a look at it, but wisely decide to back away. Yeah, we'll just have resets coming out.
One thing we haven't said so far this split as well, I know it's a bit late now, but the teleport change between the two summer and spring splits is now, it is
Unleashed?
Unleashed, that's it. Unleashed teleport does come at 10 minutes now instead of 14, so trying to give a bit of proactivity to these top laners. Obviously, we do have both the teleports available now, and with the dragon spawning, you have to feel like if there is a fight around it, we will see a full-on 5v5 as opposed to a 4v4.
Probably will, yeah, as WSL now looks back towards this Rift Herald, and there's no Dragon trade coming out, so I wouldn't be surprised to see BYG try and contest this, although Betty is on the other side of the map, so is Pepero, but he has TP.
Yeah, we do see the fight starting so far. It is Betty who's walking up first, but again, teleport available. Israel recalling to get as much power as possible. Lakai finding a lot of damage onto JP here on the side. That's a half health for Nectin.
Yeah, it's been taken out pretty low, and I think Dewish team unable to get any good poke. They do TP in on Pepero, but I wonder if the damage is already done. They haven't hit any poke onto the carries.
Oh, nice knock up there found onto WSL. The damage is fairly inconsequential, but it's a 4-man Cyclone here found. Lakai in the backline as Betty wails away at their health. He is going to find that killer instinct. Finds one, finds two. Is it going to be a third? It will be eventually found by 1116. That's a 4-for-1, and the Rift Herald will be going over to Beyond.
Dewish team, they try and contest when they really shouldn't, and Beyond, they punish them so hard for it. I think you really see the weaknesses of the Dewish team comp there. You know that you have to walk up and poke, but if you walk just a little too far, if you overstep the boundary, I mean, you see what happens is Keras, he finds, I believe it's a 4-man Relo, followed up by so much other CC. I mean, just look at the layering here. 4-man, double ults, and then even the Jax, I think, flashed in for a 4-man or a 3-man stun, I think it might have been. Either way, Dewish team, really up a creek there. Just taken out.
Yeah, wow. What an explosive team fight that was, really. I mean, the Magnet Storm coming out of Rel found such a good engage. And that's what we were saying about Keras, is while he may have been on a bottom team last split, he at no point looked like he was a weak member of that team. In fact, the bot lane tended to be the strongest part of it, and now we're just seeing what that can look like when you have stronger parts around you, and really, really good showing so far. It is now a gold lead extended to 5k, as Rift Herald hasn't even been placed yet.
Yeah, it was a little close in the gold for a time here, but Maybe now it's looking to go the way some of those previous games went. It is 2 items on Betty. There's a lot of damage very, very early.
Look how tanky this Cassante is already.
Yeah, it's so strong. And I think that Ezreal, you know, with going towards the Manamune, won't have that kind of full AP damage to really get through him for a pretty long time. Maybe not even this game, you know, with this being this far behind, it becomes very, very difficult to continue to get gold, get farm.
Well, JP is in a world of trouble here, you have to feel. A Hex Flash used here by Keres. Does manage to use the stun as well as cancel the dash, but they are okay to just take that tower.
Yeah, more gold picked up, and they still have themselves a Herald. Wonder what they want to do with it. They've already taken mid-tier 1, which is where you kind of normally see the second Herald used. Maybe instead we'll look to just save it, you know, either for after making a pick or just to kind of deploy on the other side of the map when Baron spawns. We'll have to see what it ends up getting used for. Looks like recalls will just come out for now. A Shiv wave clear though. It is nice. Not so nice when you leave them all on 1 HP.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes it causes you to miss a few CS here then there, but if you're Kai'Sa, you don't have that problem. It just immediately kills the entire wave.
Yeah, that item's fine.
Well, we are seeing the power in the AP Kai'Sa. I believe it was Nash's as the second item, and I don't think we have been able to see what the third item coming out will be. I do expect it could probably be the Ludens, just based on you are the sole AP of your team. Have to wait and find out, as lane assignments looks like the Jace will be matching up against the Cassante for this one, although Cassante now 1-1-6 does find a nice engage. He is low, but that's just because of his all-out. He's going to find the solo kill. No, he's not. Kongyue wants the gold. But that is ultimately going to be Xiaotu going down again.
Yeah, Kongyue, he does come in and yoink that, but I mean, just look at what happens when you have that lethality Jace with that Ghostblade up against a full armor Cassante. I don't know how much he has, but that fight was not going to be close. I really want to see how much armor he has. He just is so strong.
Yeah, WSL now in trouble as he's going to get engaged on. His Killer Instinct going to come in. BYG Betty manages to find it. That was a lot committed there for WSL, but again, they should be able to find something here. It looks like they're headed towards the Baron with Rift Herald trying to get to work here on the top inner.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way the side of Dewish team can contest. They might TP in the Jace, but I really don't think it's possible. And it looks like this could be another 20-minute Baron going through. Okay, double TP comes out from the Dewish team solo laners.
I think this could be an all or nothing play here. It looks like Baron will be going down, and if there's a fight, I do favor BYG. Fight comes in. It is Xiaotu going down immediately in-house, so low as JP trying to do what he can do as this Renekton, but it's not enough. Betty finds one. It's in-house now, jumped on by Lakai. He goes down as well. Pepero and WSL are all that stand. It's Baron and 3 found for BYG.
What started as
could be 4. WSL now going down. Is he going to find his 6th death? Looks like Flash should save him from now, but it shouldn't save the tower as BYG get to work on it. Actually, the minion waves have been depleted, mostly thanks to that static Shiv, but my goodness.
Yeah, does the action ever stop? It was a relatively slow early game, but it's really exploded in the last few minutes. As we'll get a replay here, and I think, you know, the side of Dewish team, they feel like they need to do something, but ultimately your comp cannot fight like this. You have to land poke before it starts. You see what happens when they can just engage on you freely, and at no point here is Betty even damaged at all. And I think Dewish team, you know, obviously they've fallen behind. They have no good choices left, but you have to play towards your comp, and they're not doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I think in all 3 games we've seen some desperation plays come out, and that one was 3 people trying to catch Lakai, which did not eventuate, and now where do you go as BYG? You can really have your pick of the litter. You can go bot, take that inner and get some more gold, or you can probably start to siege up the mid lane tower, which is almost down already, and then look for the inhib.
Yeah, I think pretty much no matter where you go here, you should be going home in a few more minutes.
I think importantly, you don't want to turn for this Baron until the Dragon until Baron's depleted, because you do have the waves in a nice spot, so you will just be losing pressure.
Yeah, I think try and Baron as many waves as you can. They're even going for Baroning 3 waves here, which is normally pretty risky. Normally the reason you don't Baron 3 waves is because you're scared of the engage that can come out. But Dewish team's engage is not particularly strong. They have a Sejuani and a Rakan, but there isn't a whole lot of, you know, threat to follow it up. So if they can manage to play 3 waves, can get the best of the
That is
band.
Xiao2 just kind of inting. He does get taken down to half, flashes away as Inhal tries to charm up as many people as possible. But this 3v5 is going in favor of BYG as Betty comes in, finds 2, finds 3. Is he going to be looking for the Penta? He's looking for it, but it's going to be 1116 finding himself a kill. It's also 1 found there by Kongyue. It's a triple and another 2. It's 5 found. Lakai's working on the top lane. Looks like it's game to BYG.
Certainly does, and a triple kill there for Betty. Could have been a Penta if things had gone a little differently, and Lakai didn't even need to be in that fight at all. They did manage to win it, and what was initially a 3v5 later became a 4v5. And I was saying this game, it looked the closest of them so far, but here at 23 minutes, it is BYG who are going to pick up game number 3 here, 19-2.
Yeah, and oh, hold up, we're trying to look for some KDA. Are they going to be able to find something? Honestly, can't see most of it. 2 more kills is found. They're looking for a 3rd by the looks of it. It is going to be another one. It's another ace. It is the game.